Hello everyone and welcome to How-FixIT. In this step-by-step video tutorial, I'll show you how to download and install Windows XP on your laptop or PC. If you need a different version of Windows, I've included links in the video description below. First, we need to download the Windows XP ISO installation file. I will download Windows XP Professional 64-bit Edition with Service Pack 2. Windows XP's ISO isn't very large compared to modern operating systems, but to be safe, use a USB drive of at least 4 GB capacity. Before proceeding, please make sure to back up all data on your USB drive as all data will be deleted. Connect your USB drive to your computer and let's get started. Download and install the Rufus software, link provided in the description. In the device drop-down menu, make sure the correct USB flash drive is chosen. Double-check the drive letter so you don't overwrite the wrong disk. Click the Select button. Browse to your Windows XP ISO file and select it. For older systems running Windows XP, your motherboard likely uses MBR, Master Boot Record, and BIOS, not UEFI. Depending on your hardware, you may need to adjust these settings, but MBR plus BIOS is most common for XP-era machines. Rufus may automatically choose FAT32 or NTFS file system. However, for Windows XP, FAT32 is typically fine. Click the Start button. Rufus will warn you that all data on the USB flash drive will be destroyed. Confirm to proceed. Wait until Rufus completes the process. You'll see Ready when it's finished. Click Close and safely eject your USB drive to prevent file corruption. If you're installing Windows on the same computer, restart it now. As the computer restarts, watch for a message such as press key to enter setup or press key for boot menu. We need to access the boot menu. Common keys for accessing the boot menu include F2, F8, F9, F10, F12, delete, or escape. In the boot menu, select your USB drive to begin loading the Windows XP setup files. If you can't get into the boot menu, go into the BIOS setup, find the boot order or boot priority setting, and move the USB drive to the top of the boot list. Then press F10 to save and exit. Your PC will reboot and attempt to boot from the USB drive. After booting from the USB, you'll typically see a text-based setup screen. The installer will load files into memory. This may take a few minutes. Eventually, you'll see the Welcome to Setup screen. Since you're doing a fresh install, press Enter. Press F8 to accept the Microsoft software license terms. The setup will show the hard drive and partitions in your system. You can delete existing partitions or create a new one for Windows XP. If you see only one unpartitioned space, as in my case, you have an empty disk. To create a partition in the unpartitioned space, press the C key on your keyboard. Specify the size in megabytes for the C drive and press Enter. The remaining unpartitioned space can be used to create a D drive. We have created 2 partitions. You can install Windows on the C partition and use the other partition for storing data. You can allocate partitions based on your preferences. In my case, I choose to delete all partitions and allocate the entire disk for the operating system. Select the partition where you want Windows XP installed and press Enter to continue. Select Quick Format and press Enter to continue. After formatting, Setup will copy Windows XP files to the hard drive. This can take several minutes. Once file copying is done, Setup will automatically restart the computer. If prompted, remove the USB drive or ignore the Press Any key to boot from USB if it appears again. Let the hard drive boot to continue installation. After the reboot, the graphical interface for Windows XP Setup will appear. Setup will install and configure devices. This can take 10 to 30 minutes depending on your system speed. If needed, customize your locale, keyboard, and language settings. Provide a name for the user. You'll be prompted for your 25-character Windows XP key. Enter a valid key and press Enter. Enter a name for your computer and, if necessary, choose a strong password for the administrator account. adjust the date, time, and time zone. You can choose typical settings or specify advanced settings if needed. Setup will finalize configuration. The system will reboot once more. If the computer tries to boot from the USB drive again, simply remove it or change the boot order back in the BIOS. Install antivirus or anti-malware software that still supports Windows XP, though this is increasingly difficult to find. Because Windows XP is old, drivers might be limited or hard to find. You may need original CDs or downloads from the hardware manufacturer's archive. If you have any additional questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. Don't forget to check the video description for links to useful resources. You were on How-FixIT, and I'll see you in the next video.